Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield, how far we've come since that ear-biting incident. Tyson will introduce Holyfield into the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame class of 2014. I'm Kerry Chow, joined by ESPN.com boxing writer Dan Rafael. Dan, how do Holyfield and Tyson get along these days?
Well, they get along pretty well these days. They've made their amends. You know, they had done a few years ago some interviews where they basically got everything off their chest that they needed to as far as what went down with that biting incident. And they did, not that long ago, they did a television commercial that spoofed the ear-biting incident where Tyson shows up at Evander's door and brings him a box that supposedly contains the piece of his ear that was missing. So they have found a way after all these years to have a sense of humor about what was a very, obviously terrible situation at the time. And this is the next step where you have Mike Tyson, being the presenter for his great rival into the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame. I think it shows you that, time can heal all wounds.
Yeah, and that commercial was actually hilarious, as you mentioned. Let's talk about Holyfield. What's his greatest Las Vegas moment?
Well, he probably has two when you think about it. The first one, I think if you had to ask Evander, is when he knocked out Buster Douglas to become the undisputed heavyweight champion. That was a very huge win for him. And then another one was probably when he had the three great fights with Riddick Bowe, two of which he won, one of which he lost. All three of them were in Las Vegas. Those were big events. So the victories in those fights have to be considered among his greatest Vegas moments. And then maybe the one that might take the cake is when he was a gigantic underdog in the first fight he had with Mike Tyson, and he knocked him out to score one of the bigger upsets in recent boxing history. So, he fought so many times in Las Vegas that he had so many great moments. But I would say winning the title for the first time, beating Mike Tyson in their first fight, and certainly the victories against Riddick Bowe, those were all Vegas fights. Those were all huge wins for him.
Yeah, that first Tyson-Holyfield fight was absolutely epic. I think overshadowed a lot by that ear controversy. This is just the second Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame in a Hall of Fame class. 18 people inducted into this year's class. The fact that there are so many honorees, Dan, does that affect the exclusivity of this hall?
I really don't think so. I think anytime you create something new, in some sense you're making up for lost time, and certainly in the Nevada boxing community there's a lot of worthy people to be going in. They put in people, some of whom are from Nevada, others who adopted Nevada and lived there for many years, others who may not have lived there but fought a certain amount of fights there, so they become eligible. Then, of course, you have other areas of the non-boxers, people such as officials, people that worked or were involved with regulating the sport in the commission. They have members of the media in their wing that go in. So I think they're making up for lost time. Some of them are this year's inductees. Sonny Liston, for example, former heavyweight champion, he is deceased, so he's going in posthumously. So they're making up for lost time. But of the living inductees of the main boxers who are going in, you're talking about Evander Holyfield, George Foreman, Roberto Duran, all among the top superstars in the history of the sport. Fighters who are already enshrined, for the most part, in the International Boxing Hall of Fame, which is the main Hall of Fame of the sport that covers the whole world. Evander is not yet eligible for the International Boxing Hall of Fame. He'll be in there someday. But I think the fact that they're putting 18 people into this Nevada Hall of Fame is not really a big deal. I think it's a great honor for everybody involved.
And that induction will be August 9th at the Tropicana Hotel. ESPN.com boxing writer Dan Rafael. Dan, thanks as always.
Thank you.
I'm Kerry Chow with your latest ESPN headline.